Hi, it's Harry. Well, I thought I'd kick off the beginning of this week with a review of some of the January data since we're almost at the end of January. And I've held a few open houses. And what I'm seeing, although there's interest, we haven't seen the buying public come back. The inventory is definitely higher than December, but significantly lower than September to November of last year. So it's not that we don't have we have too much inventory. It's just that we haven't had. Well, it is too much inventory given the amount of buyers out there, but the buying public has not come back. The projected numbers for the overall market is still below December numbers, which are typically our low numbers because that's no one likes to move during the Christmas season. So we are definitely overall we're in a buyer's market. Our prices have kind of stabilized around that 616,000 level for the overall market. But it's now our time on market is almost 2 months now. We're sitting about 55 days to sell a home in various categories. If you're looking at strictly the detached market, what we're looking at is we are still in a balanced market in the detached market, which is good to know, and good if you're looking at selling homes, because everyone seems they when we went through a lot of surveys, people are still interested in owning their own home. So we're still at about 3 months of supply. Again, the prices have stabilized. They're around 778, 780 for an average a single family home, detached home. But again, the time to sell is creeping up. It's now at 50 days, shy of 2 months, but it's getting up there. But once again, the sales are projected to not have come back, which is sad, but that's just the way it is these days. We're going to mirror December sales if things keep going the way they are for the last week. Once again, the uncertainty caused by the U.S. president has not been helpful. Thank goodness we're not Vancouver or Toronto where they've seen erosion in overall pricing. Our pricing has pretty much been trading in a band, although we're at a lower portion of the band. But we're down at most from the average of about 800, 2-3%, nothing really significant. Whereas we've seen much more higher decreases in both Vancouver and Toronto. What do I see continuing onward? If this continues and this rhetoric doesn't tune down, our spring market, which starts usually the end of March to maybe June-ish, is probably going to be our highest price market, and then we might touch the averages that we saw in 2025, but I don't expect us to see any increases over last year. Initially, I thought there would be potentially a 2% inflationary increase. I don't expect that anymore. The rhetoric hasn't died, and there's been more negative news than positive news. The other thing is that's going to weigh on the market this year is that most of those low interest, 2% interest rates and below at COVID time are coming due this year. So remaining, I think people were telling around as much about 60% from our mortgage folks are the remaining 60 are coming due. So that's going to keep a weight on the overall market. And I don't expect the Bank of Canada, because they've telegraphed no rate changes. So I don't actually expect any rate changes for the remaining part of the year unless our economy tanks because of issues with trade with the folks down south. These days, to get a view of where I think our market is headed, I just watch the news and see what's happening overall in the economy down south, because it affects trade, which affects jobs, and how consumer confidence and how comfortable people feel in making a large purchase because typically a home's the largest purchase you'll see. So overall, we're in a buyer's market, with the exception of the semi detached market, where we're in a balanced level. Prices are very similar to the last few months. I don't expect many changes. We might see a bump up during the spring market, so try to purchase something before the spring market or after, towards summer, which I expect will drop down further. If you're trying to sell now into the spring market. Any delays will likely be negative to your selling price targets. So hopefully that gives you some information. And if you got any questions, please reach out. If you need some help selling or buying a home, please reach out. Pretty familiar with what's been going on. Here's a tidbit for those who listen to my YouTube blurbs. I've just noticed the lowest price detached home in Calgary right now, which is not under bank administration and is livable, is in Ogden. It's a 1912 home selling for $380,000. A single family home selling for $380,000, lowest price. But if you're looking for something that's newer, the next winner is in Erin Woods at $425,000. So that's a much newer home, obviously. And what I find is then there's a whole slew of them at the mid fours. So not many homes below 400 that aren't under bank administration or so forth, and bankruptcy or court-ordered sales. Why that's important that I mentioned that is, if you are going to have a mortgage, banks don't look well on those type of properties because of the risk involved. Because when you sign to purchase those properties, they're sold as is. There's typically no warranties on the home. The banks never look well on that. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully you tune in again. Hope to see you around. Bye now.